So, fascinating book here. Common edible and poisonous mushrooms. My father always used to like collecting mushrooms in the wild, but obviously you've got to be careful that you don't collect any poisonous ones. Poison is a very interesting substance in nature. Fascinating learning about the world's most poisonous creatures. You know, many of these creatures use this for self-protection. So here's some interesting things regarding the world's most poisonous creatures.
And there's the little beauty.
And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most venomous animals. We're taking into account their danger to humans and their venom's median lethal dose, or LD50 for short. The lower that number, the deadlier the venom. Number 10, the Brazilian wandering spider. Wander wherever you want, buddy. Just don't come where we live.
It's called a wandering spider, and the reason it's called a wandering spider is it doesn't build a web. It just continually wanders in search of food.
For a creature whose venom has an LD50 of 0.134 milligrams per kilogram. Number 6, the South American rattlesnake. If you thought North American rattlesnakes were bad, wait until you hear about the ones that live south of the equator. South American rattlesnakes are found just about everywhere in the continent's lowlands. Although they're not particularly aggressive to humans, an LD50 of 0.478 milligrams per kilogram. Number 5, the Dubois sea snake. Ask any serious snake enthusiast, and they will tell you sea snakes have a reputation for being particularly deadly. But that's only partly true. Human deaths from sea snake bites are actually quite rare, since these real-life sea serpents tend to be pretty chill. When they do bite humans, they tend to do it dry, meaning they don't inject their venom. Sea snake venom is ridiculously potent. With an LD50 of 0.044 milligrams per kilogram, the Dubois sea snake is the deadliest of the species. It's also the third most venomous snake on Earth. Number 4, the box jellyfish.
They can be beautiful while in the water, but box jellyfish can pose a cautionary tale for unassuming swimmers and beachgoers.
Let's step away from snakes for a minute and check in with another deadly creature. Box jellyfish may not look like much, but you should not judge a book by its cover.
What makes them so dangerous to man are their tentacles. An adult box jellyfish can grow up to 40 of them, and each one contains around 5,000 stinging cells.
A species of the box jellyfish known as the sea wasp has an LD50 of 0.04 milligrams per kilogram, making its venom as potent as any sea snake. Number 3, the eastern brown snake.
And there's the little beauty.
Alright, it's time to get back to snakes. But what a reptile the eastern brown snake is. Initially, it may not look or sound that intimidating. But despite its bland name and color scheme, thanks to its potent LD50 of 0.0365 milligrams per kilogram. Number 2, the inland taipan. You didn't think we were done with Australia, did you? The inland taipan's venom is more dangerous than its coastal cousin. With an LD50 of 0.025 milligrams per kilogram, it's one of the most venomous snakes in the world.
The venom is very complex, but the main constituent part is what's called a neurotoxin.
Thankfully, they prefer to spend most of their time underground to avoid the scorching heat of the Australian sun, making bites rare.
Well, that hasn't happened to me before, or anybody else. Just think, the deadliest snake on Earth came up and gave me a lick. Good thing she didn't like the taste much.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. The Maricopa harvester ant, with an LD50 of 0.12 milligrams per kilogram. The world's most venomous insect, the king cobra, with an LD50 of 1.28 milligrams per kilogram, for instant recognizability.
At this size, you kind of expect it to be a python, but it's not. It is the largest venomous snake in the world.
Number 1, the geography cone snail.
It looks harmless, but appearances can be deceiving.
What, that little thing? Surely you jest. With a literal barbed harpoon the size of a hypodermic needle to inject the venom with an LD50 of between 0.012 and 0.03 milligrams per kilogram. They typically inhabit shallow reefs in the Indo-Pacific.
Okay, let's look at some quotes. In order to become the 1%, you have to do what the other 99% won't. And look at the quote on the right there. Who are you becoming? If nothing changes, nothing changes. Let's look at some quotes on anger here. Controlling your anger is very important. What the Bible says about anger. People with understanding control their anger. A hot temper shows great foolishness. If a small thing has the power to make you angry, does that not indicate something about your size? Learn not to get angry about small things. Look at this quote. No one makes you angry. You decide to use anger as a response. You don't have to get angry. You can ignore it. You can move away. You can cut that person out of your life. Judge me by the people I avoid. Linking on with that, the last quote. People don't make you angry. You decide to be angry. You don't have to have that as a response. Avoid certain people, and people that bring out the best in you, associate more with them. The best way to deal with anger is to prevent it. It doesn't help fighting and getting angry with people who don't see a problem with their actions. Avoid those people. Prevent anger. Now, some people think preventing anger is just not getting angry. That's impossible. Certain things must make you upset. That's right and just. But what other people think is they can hang around those people for the rest of their lives and have a happy life. You have to avoid them. Okay, top quote there. Being constantly offended is a sign of having a victim mentality. And then some people will never grow because they can't hear without getting offended. You don't have to get offended. You don't have to get angry. You choose anger. Just don't get angry. Don't get avoided. Avoid the situation. Avoid the people. Look at this next guy. You guys know him well about what he has to say about people that get offended about everything. A person doesn't have to get offended by every second thing.
I've been having life-changing results since I learned how to get offended. Now, when people don't see things the way that I see them, I just get offended. And it teaches them how not to see things from their point of view. I'm offended that you would think you have the right to post that to your Facebook account. People have every right to see things from their perspective, as long as their perspective is the same as my perspective.
JP, I don't even know why you're offended.
I'm offended that you don't know how you offended me.
JP, I wanted to thank you and show my gift of appreciation by giving you my book.
You're just assuming that I know how to read? There's 3 easy steps to getting offended by anything. Step 1, listen to what someone says, and then selflessly make it all about you by taking it personally, even if it has nothing to do with you.
I really want you to have a great life.
You're assuming my life isn't good enough the way it is? How dare you? Step 2, you want to create a large amount of tension inside your body. You really want to concentrate on bringing the tension to your stomach, your chest, and your face.
How are you doing today, JP?
I'm offended that you would have to ask. Step 3, now project outrage onto the other person. This will make it seem like you're getting rid of the tension inside your body, but it actually drives it down deeper inside you. And because it stays there, it'll make it even easier for you to get offended next time. I'm offended that you would wear that shirt.
I'm actually a little offended by that.
I'm offended that you're offended by that. Since I've learned how to get offended, I bring huge amounts of joy to everyone in my life. People feel like they're free to just be themselves when they're around me. I'm just happy I can make such a big difference in the world.
Anger doesn't solve anything, it builds nothing, but it can destroy everything. You don't have to get angry. Neurologists claim that every time you resist acting on your anger, you are rewiring your brain to be calmer and more loving. You can become more and more godly and Christ-like by resisting anger. So some interesting quotes here. It's important to be consistent, not just intensity of training. As you can see, the intensity of each training session is important, but that's just a small step. Consistency in keeping that up over the long term is far more important. So even if your intensity is a bit lower, if you keep it up for much longer, you'll have a far greater result. Look at this quote here, young lions and lionesses wanted. Look at that kid, he took a bite out of the bottle. He doesn't quit. History doesn't talk about quitters. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Who you become is more important than what you get on an earthly sort of perspective. It's who you become by straining and fighting for those goals. Often we read Bible stories and we don't really see how tough it was. These guys really had to have faith and hold on to God. Look at the story about Nebuchadnezzar, who built I think it was the Golden Tower, and if you did not bow to it, he'd throw you into a furnace. Look how God delivered them out of the furnace. But think about this. It's one thing to read Bible stories. It's another thing to be able to actually exercise that faith and walk that walk.
I will not worship that.
No!
With all our hearts we follow you.
Bow your heads!
And seek your presence. With all my heart I follow you. I fear you. I seek your presence.
Bring them!
Oh, my friends, your faith will be tested now.
Daniel! What's wrong with them? Why will your friends not bow to me?
I assure you, sire, they will serve you faithfully, all their lives, as I will, but... But they will only worship God.
I will make them bow.
With all our heart we follow you, we fear you, we seek your presence. With all our heart we follow you, we seek your presence.
When we wish to bend something that is hard and unyielding, what do we do with it? We put it into the fire. Majesty, take him!
Fear you, and we seek your presence.
Burn them! Majesty, no! Burn them!
Okay, just a quick pause here in the story. As you know, they get put in the fire and nothing happens to them. Not even the smell of smoke was on their clothing. The Lord delivered them. It's one thing to sing praise and worship songs in church and in life, which is very good, very good. But it's another thing, and very important, that in the face of persecution or difficult things, to stand up and do God's word. When you want to lie, not to lie. When you want to get angry and say something nasty, not to do that. God's word and God's ways is not a hypocritical path. We must strain and fight to be that and become that more and more and more. And the more we do that, the more we'll be able to do that. It says whoever practices ungodly talk will become more and more ungodly. It also says we must practice righteousness and godliness and the right ways. So fight for your holiness. Going to church is not just about praise and worship, but it is also in the weak time to fight and become that, not just off your tongue, but your actions as well. Now watch how God delivers them.
Come! Fire! Bring me fire!
Hear my cry. The cords of death entangle me. The anguish of the grave consumes me. Do not ignore my tears. I am overcome by sorrow. I call upon the name of the Lord! Lord, save me! My enemies will be done. They will turn back in shame. Why do they not burn? People of Judah, rise! God is with us! He's with us! God is with us.
So to be a remarkable person, focus on consistent small steps each day. Don't try and take great leaps. If you do small things each day, one day, like a little mustard seed, it will become a huge tree. Look at this guy playing tennis against this machine. Obviously, in this amazing world we are in now, whatever your passion, robotics, sports, whatever, you can do something great. This company loves their robots and tries to make the best robots in the world. Whatever your passion is, make a business out of that.
I recently read The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. A mountain stands between you and your best self. Just as a mountain is formed by two sections of Earth colliding, your internal mountain is formed by a conscious and unconscious need colliding. Maybe you've committed to changing your diet but ended up in the Wendy's drive-thru days later, or vowed to be your own boss but keep forgetting to work on that one promising business idea you have. We all do this. We say we want to change, but we unconsciously fear change and sabotage our change efforts. The longer we allow this inner conflict to persist, the larger the mountain inside of us gets. And if we never face our mountain, change is forced upon us. If we resist changing our diet or lifestyle, we'll get hit with a severe change in the form of a terminal illness. If we resist professional change, we'll likely be forced out of a job or business, which will be worse than any change we could have initiated. The key is not to wait around for change to happen, and instead embrace it. The objective of life, beyond meeting our basic survival needs, is to change and conquer our internal mountains so we can become the best versions of ourselves. Start conquering an internal mountain standing between you and your best self by going somewhere you can relax and reflect on the question, What change do I feel the most resistance to doing? As you think of answers, notice which potential change produces the greatest tension in your body. That tension may be stemming from a painful association to change that you formed earlier in life. For instance, you may want to leave your current job to find more fulfilling work, but you feel intense resistance to doing so. When you focus on that resistance, it might bring you back to a time that you lost your job. The uncertainty and stress of that experience forged a belief that you should hold on to any job you get, no matter how miserable you are in that job. Beliefs forged by past pain act as invisible weights, pulling you back down to the base of your mountain. You must release those weights by going back to the painful experience and imagine helping your younger self gain a new perspective and process the painful emotions that led to a limiting belief. Close your eyes and imagine being transported back to the painful experience and sitting next to your past self at the moment of peak emotional pain. With the benefit of being months or years removed from that experience, your current self can reassure your younger self that things will get better. In fact, some good things will actually come from the experience in the form of new insights, opportunities, and relationships. This reassurance allows your younger self to fully accept what they're experiencing and let it pass through them, like rainwater flowing through a duct, unencumbered. Now, you may cry or sweat during this experience, because as Brianna Weiss says, emotions are physical. When not felt properly, they become embodied and literally stuck in our bodies, and we need to flush them out. Without the weight of limiting beliefs holding you back from the change you want to make, it's now time to formulate a plan to move up your mountain. If you turn this highest potential future self of visualization into a daily habit, you will feel like you're gradually merging with your future self, which will allow you to have more confidence to step into the unknown and navigate change. Which brings us to the last step. Maintain momentum up the mountain with micro shifts. Our minds play nasty tricks on us. When we declare a positive change, we feel great, but the instant we attempt change, we feel terrible. The discomfort of change is not a sign that we are doing something wrong, but that we are doing something unfamiliar. Micro shifts allow us to gradually inch into an unfamiliar territory, which prevents us from freaking out and running back to our old ways. Brianna Weiss says, a microshift is changing what you eat for one part of one meal just one time. Then it's doing that a second time and a third. Before you realize what's happening, you've adopted a pattern of behavior. When you drift back to old change avoidance habits, such as aimlessly scrolling through social media to distract yourself, make a 3-second shift away from that behavior and toward the change you're resisting. Then another, and another. These small actions should take almost no effort, and each of these micro shifts should seem insignificant to an outside observer. But over time, these micro shifts will compound and move you far beyond your comfort zone. In the end, Brianna Weiss says, the mountain that stands in front of you is the calling of your life, your purpose for being here, and your path finally made clear. One day, this mountain will be behind you, but who you become in the process of getting over it will stay with you always.
Great quote here at the top. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you sow, knowing that one day you're going to reap a great harvest. I think something Corey forgot maybe here is the compounding effect of bad habits and the compounding effect of good habits. Look here at the atomic habits graph here. If you try and become just 1% better each day, look at the top line there, you become over a year 31.18 times better. If you just become 1%, a small little 1% worse every day, you end up becoming 0.03 of who you were. Guys, one of the problems with Corey is it looks like a lot of their spare time and his friends' spare time is spent doing sinful or worthless things, partying, drinking, wasting time, chatting, socializing. Spend your time, your spare time, on things that are going to build a great future for you. Look at these young, healthy people here who can't even answer the most basic questions. This comes from not that they're not able, but they're wasting their spare time on TV or reels or irrelevant YouTube things or friends or chatting or partying. On YouTube you can get great things and you can get terrible things. Pick the great things for your spare time.
If you guys get this question right, I will give you $100.
Look at these basic questions these people can't even answer. He asks them here, If you are driving 80 miles per hour, how long does it take you to go 80 miles? Now, you guys can obviously think 80 miles per hour. To go 80 miles takes you 1 hour.
If you guys get this question right, I will give you $100. If you're driving 80 miles per hour, how long does it take for you to go 80 miles?
80 hours. All right, takes 70 hours. 70 hours. 80 hours?
Final answer?
80 70 hours. 80 hours. How do you get 80 from 70?
What do you guys prefer in a guy?
I prefer no job, no college, no nothing. He just has to have more time for me.
Yeah, I agree. Like, only focusing on me, like, nothing
No
else.
friends,
Have a
too
family.
much attention away from me.
So no college?
No college.
Can you believe you'd like a boyfriend or one day a marriage partner that doesn't have college? Imagine the short-sightedness of that. I wonder how he's going to help them financially and in all the other areas of life. But anyway, so he asked them if they want $100 cash, about 2,000 Rand, or 1 Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin was selling for about $40,000 for one at that stage. That is like almost R1 million. So they couldn't choose between 2,000 Rand and R1 million.
All right, so would you guys rather have 1 Bitcoin or $100 cash right now?
$100.
$100?
$100.
We'll take the Bitcoin.
No.
What is
Bitcoin?
All right, listen. I know you're getting a little excited. Just stop talking for like a minute. Just a minute. Stop talking. We'll take the Bitcoin.
No, like literally, like I want the $100. What the hell is
babe? Do you not understand? A Bitcoin is worth. Look, I'm not good at math, but it's worth a lot more than that $100 bill.
What is that? Like a game thing?
Game, bro. She just said it's a game.
Yeah, it's like currency and like Fortnite.
You're not gonna think it's a game when we get this $100 and miss out on what, like 35K? We're gonna miss out on 35K.
Is that like GTA money? Like I don't understand what that is. Like there's
GTA money.
Right now.
Yo, can we just cut this video? Don't
You could get it.
Don't post this because I don't. He can't post this.
Why?
Oh, you're making us look dumb. Come on, just
It's $100. Can we take this?
Yeah. All right, so would you guys rather have 1 Bitcoin or $100 cash right now?
$100.
Bitcoin. Are you stupid? It's a Bitcoin.
I want $100.
Bitcoins are like $40,000.
You can't hold that in your hand right now.
I could sell it and get $40,000.
But I could take this right now and go and buy a shirt.
Do you not? I could buy a car.
No.
Yes.
I'd rather
Yeah.
do the $100
No.
any day.
But like,
My friend mines that.
Your friend mines Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's all fake. It's a scam.
what do you know? What do you think a Bitcoin is?
I don't know, but it's fake, and I'd rather take the $100.
So if you guys get this question right, I'll give you $100. If you're driving 80 miles per hour, how long does it take for you to go 80 miles?
Wouldn't that be like 30 minutes?
30.
I think.
30
minutes? 30 minutes? I think.
Why?
60 in an hour, 80 or 30 minutes.
If you guys get this question right, I'll give you $100.
Word.
If you're driving 80 miles per hour, how long does it take for you to go 80 miles?
Like an hour and a half. Yeah, hour 40. I don't know. Maybe 2 hours. 2 hours. 2 hours. 2 hours. 2.5. 2 hours. No, 2 hours. Go 2 hours.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because like 80 miles an hour is a far ride. Wait, 1 hour. 1 hour. No, 80 miles an hour takes forever. Oh no. It's 2 hours. Go 2 hours.
Nah, you guys are wrong.
What is it?
Did you know if you say oranges slowly, it sounds like the word gullible?
Oranges.
Look at this representation here of consistency over just intensity. Listen to the US military, how they choose people. They choose people based on the kind of person that will never give up.
I can tell you that what we're looking for is not the finished article. We're not expecting them to be train mates. We're not looking for Olympic champions or World Cup winners. We're looking for team players who have got strong values and qualities who will never, ever give in. From the youngest cadet all the way up to the oldest veteran, and everybody that served within that 358-year history of the Marines, they'll instantly be able to tell you about our commando values: courage, determination, unselfishness, and cheerfulness, especially in the face of adversity. And why can they do that? Well, the Marines very skillfully, but not very subtly, put you in situations where you have to demonstrate these values every day. They have these words on a poster on a wall every 2 yards when you go down to Limpstone. And what they do is they take these words off a poster on the wall and they place them within you, and it becomes a way of life. They help you to grow every single day. They take you to the limit of what you thought was possible. And then what they ask you to do is to take one more step forwards, climb 1 more metre higher, row 1 more oar stroke. They make you cold and wet and tired and hungry. They'll give you something to do that you can't do on your own. And what they expect to see from you is for you to live those values every day. They put you in situations where you expect the unexpected. They're always throwing spanners in the work in training. The Marines talk about train hard and fight easy, where you leave no stone unturned so that when it comes to the crunch, and it always comes to the crunch, you've been there before, you've done the training, you start getting the little things right, you live in your values, you start to get some of the bigger things right, and some of that magic starts to happen.
So I'll end with this quote: don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you sow. It takes time to build something great. Just focus on doing something amazing each day. Consistency. Like this guy in the Marines says, the Marines fight easy but train hard. Train hard each day so that you build a life one day that can be amazing by all the seeds you've sown day for day.